everyone. Welcome. Hopefully, everyone's having a good weekend. This is Faith, Lies, and Confusion, and I am Godless Reggie. Today's episode is a very interesting hot topic that has been circulating the internet lately. The Pastor David Taylor saga. Okay. I'm not sure if anyone knows a lot about this particular pastor. I've seen him on the internet making a lot of outlandish claims for probably about the past year. Shout out to Weezy666. How are you doing? Um, but I never really looked into him too much because there's so many pastors that are in the game now that say all kind of outlandish things, right? So you seen one, sometimes you see them all. Now that I'm learning about this particular individual, some of the claims I'm actually upset that I've never heard of before because most of the claims that he's making are literally impossible, such as bringing people back from death, things like that. I mean, the scamming part, that's typical, but recently he's been arrested, and I'm going to bring up some of the stuff because I'm a little bit ignorant on the topic. So I don't want to sit there and say he did X, Y, Z without being 100% factual. So give me 1 second so I can pull up the article on exactly what he was arrested about and what this whole stream is going to be about. Hopefully everybody's having a good holiday weekend as well. Okay, so this is going to be according to Fox Area News 13 of Tampa, Florida. Let me go into the screen. This thing. It's big. Make sure the visual on that's correct. So, church leaders arrested. Ministry watchdog says red flags surround the pastor for years before the indictment. Now, this is according to Fox 13 News of Tampa, Florida. There are still so many questions about how the Kingdom of God global church operated for so long before two of its church leaders were arrested, following multi-state FBI raids. A bad actor from the beginning, what they're saying, it's a level of evil wrongdoing that even among some of the worst actors we've covered for years. And in 26 years, I don't believe I've seen anything quite like this, says Warren Smith, the president of Ministry Watch. He has tracked faith leaders' financial and ethical accountability for more than 2 decades and has followed the movements of David Taylor's church for years. They have, frankly, from the very beginning, shown evidence of being a bad actor. Ministry Watch reported on Taylor and the Kingdom of God Global Church purchasing an $8.3 million villa mega mansion, which was raided by authorities this past Wednesday. They also followed a lawsuit between a Florida movie prop company and the church. After the church failed to pay for a $2 million set, court records show that the church intended to use the set for an event at Amway Arena in Orlando. We thought that was not great that you're getting sued for non-payment, but B, when you've taken in that kind of money when you're buying mansions and when you buy luxury automobiles, why don't you have money to pay a vendor? So all of these facts and circumstances uh, sort of adding up. Says, I guess this is going to be the pastor's mugshot right here. Not a very flattering picture, I might add, but it's him. But even Smith admits that the scope of the federal investigation shocked him. He said throughout the reporting there was no indication by federal authorities. Investigation into Kingdom of God Global Church dig deeper. Federal prosecutors allege Taylor and his ministry amassed more than $50 million in donations since 2014. Wow. Smith said the lack of government oversight for nonprofits could have allowed the group to operate unchecked. We are living in an oversight and accountability and regulatory regime for nonprofits that has devised in the 1950s and 60s. It is completely inadequate for the number of nonprofits that we have in this country today. According to the indictment, Taylor and his top aide, Michelle Brandon, forced workers in church call centers to meet unrealistic quotas, punishing them when they failed. Experts said while these practices are seen in some overseas operations, this may be the first known case in the United States. I don't believe that I'd be the only one. There are some other organizations that might be involved in these kinds of similar situations, and I think by understanding the mechanics of David Trailer's operation, we might be able to gain some insight into how to investigate or what to look for in some of these other situations, says Smith. What we don't know, the indictment does not give any context to explain how people are drawn into the church's labor system or how they came into contact with Taylor. Where did these people come from? How were they coerced into this situation? What sort of intimidation or threats were made to keep them from leaving? Smith asked. Authorities have not said, this is Michelle Brandon, the co-defendant, authorities have not said how many victims there could be or how many people may be removed from the homes or call centers raided this past Wednesday. The civil lawsuit, the backstory, court transcripts from the federal civil lawsuit over the movie set may shed some light on how many people could have been impacted. A pastor working for Taylor with the Kingdom of God Global Church testified in 2024 that only a handful of employees have a salary. He said they rely on 75 to 80 full-time volunteers to run day-to-day operations and claimed the ministry has thousands of volunteers in nearly 200 nations worldwide. Another volunteer testified during those proceedings that 75 to 80 people worked at the call centers. What they're exactly saying, there are a lot of victims here, a lot of problems, a lot of damage done, Smith said, but at least it's coming to light, and maybe we can learn a few lessons from it. Smith also pointed out there are potential thousands who were uh, defrauded, believing that their donations to the church were going to church ministry. Who is still answering the calls, the church's prayer line? What we know, despite the federal charge, Fox 13 confirmed that the church's prayer line remains active. Calls placed on Thursday were still being answered by workers on the other end. What we don't know, Fox 13 reached out to the FBI's field office to ask whether the other church locations remain operational and whether more potential victims are still working under these conditions and answering the telephone lines. Wow, that's a lot to take in. It sounds like slavery to me. I mean, I'm trying to figure out because from what I was reading a little bit earlier before I came online, and from what I'm understanding for what I just read, it almost sounds like a form of slavery. So I'm starting to think, and maybe I'm moving a little bit too forward, but I can't really see like adult American citizens letting you intimidate them into doing free labor. I guess I'm kind of contradicting myself because you see it in churches, but on this scale, um, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking that maybe these are people that may be, excluded from being in the workforce, maybe elderly people, maybe people too young to be working, maybe people that don't really have the right to work in this country. I don't know. I'm just presupposing, but it's going to be very interesting to find out exactly who the victims of these crimes were. Um, I hope everyone is safe now. I hope this whole operation is ended because, from my understanding, something I read earlier, that there was physical violence, more of like he was the pusher. He's not the smallest individual, as you can see from the picture that I had up. I'll show it again so you can see like the lifestyle version or whatever. But he's not a small individual, so I can see how he could probably quote unquote should ignite the situation. On top of the fact that when people are, some people, I'm not gonna say all people, when some people are really good believers, they can be brainwashed. These people are men of God to think that they will go to hell or something like that because of something that he says. I don't understand how a person can be brainwashed to that extent or can even believe anything else he says. And biased in the situation because obviously I'm not a believer, but it's going to be very interesting to find out the logistics to this whole crime. So I've been rambling on and on and on for about 10 minutes straight. So I'm going to play a video here in 1 second. see some of the things that he's being accused of. Because again, I'm not the most knowledgeable person about this man. I'm not going to pretend like I am, but it's definitely interesting.
To God. As a prophet, I'm commanding you to give it. You don't have to wait on God to talk to you. I'm his representative. If you obey my words, God will bless your finances. As a matter of fact, he'll make you a millionaire. If you're already a millionaire, he'll make you a multi-hundred-million millionaire or a billionaire.
If I told you Jesus Christ wanted to appear to you, would you want that? How many of you want face to face in your life? How many of you want a face to face relationship with Jesus in your life? The Lord is going to give this to you.
Guys, as you guys are logging into this live, this is one of those things that doesn't make sense to me. It bothers me. I wonder if people are just, so desperate, or it is, these people are giving this man millions of dollars. They're talking about almost 50 million a year, I think it was. Now he's facing up to 20 years in prison because a lot of different things, right? They're saying allegations of abuse. He had his money who, and then you find out this with that, and then ministries.org really scary. Ask God about everything for yourself before ministry, man. Pray about it. Let's.
Yes, I'm sure that's right. If it shows there. And that's the closing for you? Yes, probably. Yes, most likely. So you don't see that there's any problem when you minister to the poor, the sick, the needy, to be appearing in Louis Vuitton and Versace? Well, that is something I work against all the time. Well, it looks like you did several times. And I'm a very frugal person when it comes to this. I go to the right places to get a lot of suits. And if I get some from those places, you don't see that. You don't see Macy's? No, you don't see that. Because Macy's don't have the kind of suits that I wear. But what I'm saying is, these Louis Vuitton things, you don't see that in our charges all the time.
Obedient to God. As a prophet, I'm commanding you to give it. You don't have to wait on God to talk to you. I'm his representative. If you obey my words, God will bless your finances. As a matter of fact, he'll make you a millionaire. If you're already a millionaire, he'll make you a multi-hundred-million millionaire or a billionaire. If you obey my voice, if you obey the voice of God speaking through me, God will bless your finances.
It was during the Christmas season. I was 17 years old when it first happened. Jesus appeared to me in a dream, and it changed my life forever. And he told me if I wrote this in a book, he would appear to millions all over the world. And it's happening now.
Through Apostle Taylor's face-to-face relationship with Jesus that he's had for over 30 years, millions of people all over the world are experiencing this same face-to-face intimacy with the Lord.
I literally felt Jesus touch me. He came to me and delivered me.
I was
that
brought
night.
up as a Hindu. I began reading the book, had my first encounter with the Lord.
I was born Muslim, and I read the book, Jesus appeared to us.
The greatest move of God.
All right, so what is this residential center? Oh, this is a place that the ministry owns. Well, not own. We're in the process of buying that. Yeah, we don't So are own you it yet. renting to buy, or Yeah, we're leasing to buy. You have that as an asset of $2,844,500. So do you own it?
I just answered that, didn't I? So we didn't own it.
Okay,
We're
but
leasing to
where
buy
does
it.
the? I'm sorry.
We're leasing to buy it. Did you? I thought we just said that.
All right, but
Yeah.
you've listed it as an asset worth $2,844,000.
Oh, that should be more of a liability.
All right, so where does the number $2,844,000 come from?
Culture center.
Is it a home?
No, it's a residential center, resort, and teaching and training.
Resort?
Yeah, teaching. A resort where we teach and train.
On November 29th, 2013, JMMI paid over $6,000 to Louis Vuitton.
Yes.
What would that be for?
Well, this is for clothes concerning my TV ministry as well.
Oh, yeah, for Louis Vuitton.
Oh, it don't matter what name it is. The point is, clothing are allocated to us for ministry purposes as well.
What do you mean they're allocated to you?
You know, in a media ministry.
In a what?
Media ministry.
Yeah.
Okay, on the road when I'm always traveling and using my clothes, I'm sweating through them.
So I'm needing new clothes also for television ministry for the year. So
And so you use ministry money to buy your wardrobe.
outfit.
Your
It's
outfit.
called, it's allocated more towards ministry apparel.
Is that going to what your income is?
I'm sorry.
Do you show that in your income that you got Louis Vuitton clothing?
No, that's not. That
That doesn't show.
because it don't go there.
It don't go there.
Mm-mm,
I don't know
no.
what that means.
It don't belong there. That's out of place.
What's out of place?
You don't get taxed on things like that. That's for ministry business purpose. So it's not.
Louis Vuitton.
Well, you can call whatever you want.
So June 2014, you spent $3,500 by JMMI to Versace in the Bahamas.
Mhm.
Yes?
I'm sure that's right. If it shows there,
And that was for clothing for you.
it's most
So
likely.
you don't see that there's any problem when you're ministering to the poor, the sick, the needy, to be appearing in Louis Vuitton and Versace?
Well, that ain't something I purchase all the time.
No, it looks like you did several
Well,
times in
I mean, I'm a very frugal person when it comes to this. I go to the right places to get a lot of suits. And if I get some from those places, you don't see that.
you don't see Macy's.
No, you don't see that. Because Macy's don't have the kind of suits that I wear. But what I'm saying is, these Louis Vuitton things, you don't see that in our charges all the time.
Had said ahead of time, which is amazing in itself, that the Lord is going to come to you. And he came this close, face to face.
I was born and raised Muslim, and I read the book Face to Face. Jesus appeared to us. We felt so much peace. We felt so much love. Jesus saved me.
I was brought up as a Hindu worshipping idols, and as I began reading the book, I had
I feel like that's enough of that part right there because that's really irrelevant to the point of him being arrested and the point of the stream. But it does show that he is lying. I mean, there's nothing frugal about the brands that were mentioned. I mean, I guess sometimes you can get some of those from Macy's. Well, not Gucci. But I guess sometimes you can get like some brands from, department stores and things like that. But not really. Because, the idea of department stores is really like dying anyway. There's really not that many malls in America like how it used to be. So, I mean, you're having to go to places to seek these brands out. And you're definitely paying top dollar. I mean, if you got the money like that at your disposal, why would you? I mean, I'm not saying that it's right, but why would you be going to get second and third hand, a couple of stitches fucked up on some Gucci when you got the money to get it and you're paying top dollar for it? So I just think that he needs to stop lying. That is something that I had seen in the past few years or whatever, but I don't really think that has nothing to do with what he was arrested for. I'm sure there's going to be some people out there that are going to see this and or just that part and say, well, what about that? A lot of that's. But I think if people really dig into what he's being charged for, I think they'll change their stance. It's my personal opinion that all preachers, anybody that collects any types of donations, I don't care if it's just building fund tithes, I don't care how you word it. You're a scammer. I mean, why should I have to give you money? Oh, well, the church needs it. That's you're the one who went out there and got this building. So it's not for me to help you pay for it. I mean, if there's people out there that feel like and somebody else can read a book better than you can, that's on you. But I feel like at that point, especially if you have some kind of education that your parents paid for, that's like slap in the face and waste of money. Like, you mean tell me this motherfucker that I told them how to read this book better than you? But I'm getting a little bit off track. So let's talk about a couple other things. So I'm gonna read something from ChatGPT about the pastor. Give me a second. I like baby fat. That's good. It has that in it. Now a lot of people used to like that shit. It was a high brand. It was a high brand. I mean, the shirt I got on right now is a little bit outdated as far as brand. Nobody wears true or something like that. I mean, I'm old, so one of my favorite brands right now that I wear. My favorite clothing brand right now, honestly, is Guess. That's what I'm wearing. And that's super duper old. So let me read that. Someone, Pastor David Taylor. So Here's an image of David E. Taylor, widely recognized as Apostle David Taylor, leader of the Kingdom of God Global Church, also known as Joshua Media Ministry International, or JMNI. Who is David Taylor? Early life and conversion. David E. Taylor claims at the age of 17, while living a gangster lifestyle in Memphis, he experienced a face-to-face appearance of Jesus in a dream, which profoundly changed his life and led him into ministry. His ministry and outreach over the past 30 years, Taylor has built a global healing and miracle ministry. He authored the best-selling book, Face-to-Face Appearances from Jesus, The Ultimate Intimacy, and hosts Miracles Today broadcast, reportedly reaching over 190 countries. His ministry emphasizes miraculous interventions like dismantling drug rings, healing the blind and deaf, reviving the dead, and delivering others from sex trafficking. Recognition of humanitarian work. In 2017, he received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award from President Barack Obama for extensive volunteer community service exceeding 4,000 hours. His outreach includes a convoy of miracles, dispatching aid to disaster zones, distributing water, supplies, and clothing after Hurricane Ian in 2022. Controversies and legal troubles. Allegations of cult-like practices and misconduct. Critics and former members have described Taylor's ministry as cult-like, pointing to lavish spending, ex-members' concerns, and troubling financial practices. One Reddit user shared, anytime you ask her to objectively think about his teachings, she gets offended. It's destroying her marriage. Legal indictments in 2025. In August 2025, which was August of this month, federal authorities arrested David E. Taylor and his executive director, Michelle Brannon, on charges of forced labor, conspiracy to commit forced labor, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. The Justice Department alleges Taylor exploited followers, employing psychological abuse, depriving food and shelter, and physical assault to extract tens of millions in donations via call center operations across Michigan and Texas, including Houston, Florida, and Missouri. Particularly, its Houston campus, a former hotel purchased in 2023, is accused of being a controlled environment where workers were isolated and managed in nearly every facet of life. Okay. So basically, what it sounds like to me is that he's a slave master. I mean, all these pinpoint Abrahamic religions as mental slavery, and he's the Muslim. Now, when I described him earlier without hearing his voice, I described him as Suge Knight. He sounds like him too. He fucking sounds like him and everything. The only difference is their accents are slightly different because Suge Knight is from California. He's allegedly supposedly from Houston or Memphis. But they do sound very similar to be from different locations. And their change being done. I think Suge might be slightly taller. I don't know. Suge was a football player. I don't know if this apostle was, but if he wasn't, he missed out on a great opportunity. He's the right size for it. He looks like when he was a child, he probably was a little bit bigger. I don't know. I don't really like the fact that the forced labor and things like that. And it's going to have to go back. Well, it's not going to have to go back. I'm still thinking that there has to be some form of children or somebody that doesn't want to tell you, somebody that doesn't want to see, somebody that can't defend themselves. And I'm thinking that it has to be something that's really not supposed to be. Right? Because it doesn't take long to switch. It doesn't take long at all, especially when we're talking about forced labor and things like that. I'm not saying that this operations going on for years and years and years and years and years where, he was being overlooked, but to some aspect it has been. I would even say maybe a couple of years. As I was reading it, as I was reading, it was kind of illustrating that. But again, I can't wait to more details come out exactly who the victims are. Right? I'm hoping, I mean, I guess I'm going to be people, but I'm really hoping it's not minors. I hope it's not children. I hope it's not none of the people that I think it is. But probably just bad. Also, so it has to be some shit. It's terrible. I always refer to preachers as pimps. We dress like him. He's using some pimp tactics, right? The abuse, the muscle, things like that. I'm not saying that everyone uses those same tactics, but it seems like that's what he is being accused of. I don't want the one to say somebody did something that they didn't do, but he's definitely being charged for it. You know, the FBI is getting involved. It's not just the regular police. So this is sounding a little David Koresh's. It may seem like I'm trying to give him a pass, but I'm really not, because the other people that have done things like this throughout history, maybe not with the call center things, there was always a loss of life. There was always loss of life. So in this case, I guess it's going to be a little bit. It's making a buzzer. A buzzer. Is it still doing it now? Is it still buzzing now? Because I can just turn it on. Okay, it's because I have my phone right there. But as I was saying, the stories I've heard from a lot of these cults in history, there always was a loss of life. You know? Some of them mass suicide. Some of them, I don't know who started it between the government and them, but there were shootouts, murders, generic Kool-Aid being drank to unalive. There's always been some type of loss of life. So I'm just gonna say, thankfully, before any of that type of activity happened, this one was shut down. So if there's any bright side to this actual story, it would be that whoever was being forced into slavery, they were free and no one lost their life. But it's just another situation where we see in society these preachers and these men being put in these hierarchy positions, and people full-fledged believing what they say, as if God just bestowed them for you to give them the money. And I just don't understand. I can see you being religious with God. I can see you being hypnotized by just like you know. What is the significance of the person telling you this shit as if you can't read it yourself? I don't see it. And then it's like people just excuse everything that these people do. You have to be overlooking their behavior from the beginning when it's really small to get this big, right? You can't. It's got to be my fault. It still wasn't up. Let me know. But my point is, some of this has to start in small situations, right? You can't just jump off the porch and just be upholding people against your will. There has to be little subtle signs, putting hands on people, here and there, slapping people, or getting aggressive with people, things like that. There has to be little indication. I just wish that people would stop excusing small behaviors when they're wrong and just overlooking it and just thinking that it's God. It's illogical. It doesn't matter who does what. If you do something wrong, you deserve to be punished. No one's fucking special. And this is just what we did. This is the situation that we see. I don't see why. What is why? You could have podcasted more. You could have got right. You could have begged more. There's a lot of things you could have done. You could have campaigned more. I mean, listen, bro. You made it all the way to Barack Obama. He even gave you. Hold on, let me turn this on. Okay, so I'm just going to use the screen microphone. I forgot what my viewpoint was, but overall, I'm glad that he's been caught. If he's guilty, uh, and I want to read some more about it because, from my understanding, it's from a couple different locations. He had 4 or 5 different churches throughout America. I wonder what he's doing overseas too, because if this shit is reaching overseas, he's definitely begging for money overseas. I mean, that's just simple business, right? Why are you sitting here pushing this message to people in countries and paying for the broadcast to be over there, and you're not getting nothing back? That's a waste of resources. So maybe I'm solving the puzzle uh, from me being on the journey of disbelief and me encountering different content creators and learning about preachers from other countries and things like that. I have learned that a lot of these people from countries where the average citizen would have no chance of coming here, they come here whenever they want. Um, it has to be a money thing. So I don't know if it's because they have the right amount of money where they can pay for things versus other people can't. But I know they're getting preferential treatment when it comes to visas and things like that. So there has to be some kind of monetary kickback because the United States loves money, right? Money talks, right? Bullshit walks. So maybe that's how this is happening. There has to be some type of money trail with the shit because I'm not reaching out to 200 people. I'm not forcing people into fucking free labor, right? If the money is, it has to be about the money. It has to be about the money. He is living a lavish lifestyle, but not that lavish, right? Not that lavish. Not that lavish. I mean, okay, he's having $2,000 and $3,000 suits and shit like that. But I've heard of people with 2 and 3 private jets, you know, things like that. I've heard of people having way more than him, right? So we'll see. It's all going to come out. It's all going to come to life. I think that one video that I played when he was being interviewed, it was going across the screen. It was saying 2014. Bro, you should have knew that you was on fire. Right then and there. My phone is just going hammer time. But you should have knew that you was on fire at that point. If they're already video recording you and are questioning your finances, the feds is not too far. They're not too far away, right? I do understand that in a lot of circumstances, preachers are tax exempt to a certain extent. But when your finances are being constantly forced in the media, they gonna want some of that shit. They gonna want some of it. So I don't know who the fuck you ain't pay, and I don't know who the fuck you been pissed off. You're right. He was talking too much. It's almost like he on the Vlad TV of fucking preachers. I don't know because there's no way you would have got me to answer none of them questions, and there's no way you would have had. She was reading his financial records. I don't know how the fuck you even got that information because there ain't no way, ain't no goddamn way. Yeah, I just perfectly understand it. Let's see if we can. Give me 1 second, y'all.
choosing to have the hearing in Michigan, where the case is accused and declined to have a bond hearing. Instead, choosing to have the hearing in Michigan, where the case is actually based. The court filing, prosecutors say that they want Brandon her trial. They dangers and she may try to run. They also indicated that her home address was listed as a mansion in the affluent Avila neighborhood in North Tampa. Investigators say unpaid workers were forced to solicit donations or face punishments, including physical and psychological abuse. The indictment alleges that Taylor made the rules and Brandon, director. The arrest came as a relief to a woman who says she was in a relationship with Taylor in 2020, trying to expose his abuse. This is just part of a video that she recorded yesterday.
There were so many people that were taken advantage of, and I was one of them. I experienced firsthand the abuse, the lies, and the corruption of both of them. What a shame the picture in this characterability of Christ.
According to the federal indictment, Taylor referred to himself as an apostle, claiming that he communicated with Jesus and that he could heal people through faith. The investigators says all extravagant lifestyles for Taylor and Brandon, who were the only ones receiving a salary. Of course, there are still many questions about how this church was able to operate for as long as it did.
Some have been watching and raising red flags for years. Let's bring in Fox 13's Genevieve Curtis, who spent the day digging into the church's past. Hi there, Genevieve, in our newsroom tonight. What'd you find out here?
Yeah, there's a lot to go through. And those who keep an eye on ministries say that there were red flags with David Taylor and his church for years, but truly nothing of this magnitude.
They have, frankly, from the very beginning, shown evidence of being a bad actor, a bad operator.
Warren Smith makes it his mission to keep faith leaders accountable. He's the president of Ministry Watch. The news outlet tracks finances and actions of Christian ministries. They followed the actions of David Taylor and the Kingdom of God Global Church over the years. But Smith says the allegations contained in the federal indictment of forced labor and human trafficking were
that we've been covering over the years here at Ministry Watch, and we've been around for 26 years. I don't believe I've ever seen anything quite like this.
The indictment alleges since $50 million in donations, leading to questions about how it went on for so long.
We are living in an oversight and accountability and regulatory regimen for nonprofits that was devised in the 1950s and 60s. It is completely inadequate for the number of nonprofits that we have in this country today. So I think one of the ways that David Taylor was able to get away with it was that that they were just not being scrutinized by the government at all.
Authority accused Taylor and his right hand, Michelle Brannon, of forcing workers to meet unrealistic used in third world countries, but maybe the first case.
And the mechanics of David Taylor's work, we might be able to gain insights into how to investigate or what to look for in some of these situations that I'm aware of.
And there are still questions about how many were forced to in these conditions. Trial could give us some insight. Taylor and his church were sued by a movie that come for failing to pay. Last year, one of the church's pastors testified that they rely on 75 to 80 full-time volunteers to run the day-to-day operations. He also testified the church has volunteers names or
damage done, but at least it's coming to light and maybe.
And in talking about call centers, the church promotes its prayer line, which we call today, and people are still answering the phones for the church. So I reached out to the FBI field office to see if there are other locations that were not raided, if there are more victims that are still working for the church, answering those phone lines. We'll let you know what we find out.
Okay. That's interesting. And what I liked about that is because what they were saying was word for word what I was reading. So that just lets me know that the Fox 13 News of Tampa, y'all website is on point, because while I'm sitting here listening to both of y'all talk, I'm like, damn, that sounds exactly like what the fuck I just said, word for word. So that definitely was dope. That's fucked up, bro. That's fucked up that you would sit there and do that, forcing people to do that, having a American sweatshop in 2025, forcing people to scam for you in the name of the Lord. I almost wish that I was a believer. And the reason why I wish I was a believer is because I would believe in hell. So I can tell you that you're going to hell. But you ain't. You ain't. You're going to jail. But you ain't going to hell. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. You're going to lose all your motherfucking money. And you're going to be in that bitch looking crazy, fighting for your life. I hope they seize all. Well, if the FBI's involved, I know they didn't seize all your assets. I know you in jail right now and ain't got shit on shit. Shit. I mean, somebody probably be a sucker right now to send you some money, put some money on your books. There's always going to be a believer out there that may owe you one, because I'm pretty sure you didn't bless somebody with somebody's money that you stole from somebody else. So somebody probably like, you know what, man, that one time, I got you, bro. I'm gonna put something on your ham sandwich. I know you in that motherfucker hungry. I know your ass in there hungry. I know you is. They stopped serving dinner at 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock. I know you hungry right now in that motherfucker. I guess that's what you get. You've took food out of other people's mouths, so I can't feel any remorse for you. But again, there's always going to be people saying the whataboutism. But I don't feel like the whataboutism has forced labor. Yeah, we can say that you probably didn't pay a couple people to sweep up the church or play the organ or shit. But hey, you ain't whooped their ass, though. You ain't whooped their ass and get on that phone. Get, nigga. Get. You ain't do all that. So I can't really feel no mercy for him. You could have did it the legal way. You could have took some of your money and went overseas and paid for a real call center and had some people from overseas calling American people begging for donations. But no, you want to get a bitch ass. So that's on you. You could have saved you a couple of dollars. Obviously, if your message is reaching 190 different countries, that means you got hundreds of visas, right? Hundreds of them. But most countries don't need a visa. But you got some visas, bro. So you should have did like the American way. Pay somebody else to do it. You ain't got to do all that shit. You could have got you somewhere else where people speak English. I mean, maybe it wouldn't have been as effective because everybody wants to hear people that, quote unquote, sound like them. But that's not. You didn't have to go by like that. So whatever comes to you, comes to you. I'm sure that there's going to be more information that comes out about this particular topic and this pastor. There's so much of this shit that I don't know. His co-defendant, I want to know more about her. I know if I sit here and just do a couple clicks, it's going to tell me. But as time goes on, more and more, this shit is going to come up. So that's why I went ahead and titled it The Saga, because this shit is going to get real. I'm definitely going to go back and play some of his most outlandish statements that he's made in his claims, because I haven't even really touched on those too much today. I will be back with more of it because I want to learn more about him. He's got my attention now. Maybe I'm the last one to the party. Y'all just invited me and nobody fucking tell me, and nobody email me unkindness, Ouija, it's fucked up, NJ, it's fucked up, you ain't tell. I'm putting this on y'all. I'm passing the buck. No, this bullshit. But he's definitely interesting, and I'm slightly jealous that I haven't got up on him a while ago. More my fault. My fault totally, because I definitely seen the interview when he was asking about these suits and all this shit and trying to compare himself being frugal, buying Gucci and shit. How much a fucking Gucci suit costs? How much a real Gucci belt costs? You know what a Gucci hat costs? Just the hat. Just that. Fuck the suit. All right? And you talking about you being frugal? Come on, man. You could have went Calvin Klein. You could have went Perry Ellis. You could have went so many different. Man, you could have went to the Men's Warehouse, motherfucker. You could have even went Polo, bro. You could have went Polo, dog, and saved thousands and been fresh. A Polo suit probably get like $700-800. You know what I mean? Top of the line. No, you want to go overboard. You want to go shit that a nigga can't even fucking pronounce, right? That's all we do. We always gonna get some shit that we came from overseas, from Europe. We think everything from fucking Italy, fucking France, and Spain and all that shit is top of the line. Man, that shit made in China. They just put the stitch on that bitch in that country and then shipped it to your ass. That's all they did. They dropped it, and you niggas getting drop shit. That's what you getting. You getting cold-hearted drop shit. Right? It ain't no different than that stuff you can go get on Canal Street. It's the same fucking quality. It's Canal Street quality. It's Chinatown quality. Because it's made in China. Period. And people will just pay for that shit. Man, go buy a FUBU suit. I'm just bullshitting. If I remember correctly, from that interview, they were talking about how many belts he had. Man, I got this guest. Well, I'm lying. I got a braided belt on right now. But I got me a new guest belt about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm happier than a motherfucker with that bitch. I love it. It's gonna break though, but I still like it. It's still nice. You know what I'm saying? He could have been out here getting guest suits, getting fresh with them motherfuckers, and spending a nice amount of bread. But he went a little overboard. Yes, I definitely want to learn more about this topic because he's an interesting individual, right? He's very funny looking. So based off just that, I'm interesting just so I can just laugh at his motherfucking ass. I think I'm gonna start making content about him. I should have started a few days ago, but I just been bullshitting around, waiting to learn how to do new things on the internet and shit like that. So I haven't been focused on streaming. I'm about to get back on it soon. I'm gonna start more Pretendian content because I've made a couple streams about Pretendians. I stopped. I need to start doing my sports show again. I need to start doing my music show again. In this show, I'm definitely gonna stay as consistent as I can with it. I thank all y'all for stopping by. Thank you, Ouija666. Thank you, NJ, for coming in the comments. Hopefully you'll be back next week. Shout out to NJ. Shout out to everybody that normally stops by. I'm probably gonna get on TikTok tonight. Anybody out there want to come follow me? It's the same as here at Godless Reggie, but it's at Godless Reggie 2. I have another page at Godless Reggie 3. You can follow me on what's up, Lori? You can follow me on Instagram at Godless Reggie, same thing. But I'm gonna end this stream, but we definitely will be back with more of the David Taylor saga once I get more content on his ass. But again, catch me on TikTok because that's where I'm about to go. Good night.